Today we take up the contract of deposit, which is from Article 1962 to Article 2009 of the New Civil Code of the Philippines. However, we will take up first Part 1, which is from Article 1962 to Article 1971. Article 1962. A deposit is constituted from the moment a person receives a thing belonging to another, with the obligation of safely keeping it and of returning the same. If the safekeeping of the thing delivered is not the principal purpose of the contract, there is no deposit, but some other contract. So this provision gives us the definition of deposit. Who are the parties to a contract of deposit? The parties are the depositor, he is the person who delivers the thing for safekeeping, and the depositary, he is the person who receives a thing belonging to another with the obligation of safely keeping it and of returning the same. What is the purpose of deposit? It is stated here that the purpose of deposit is safekeeping. Okay, here, safekeeping. And what are the characteristics of the contract of deposit? Number one, it is real. So I state here also the definition by real contract under Article 1316. It says, real contracts such as deposit, pledge, and comodatum are not perfected until the delivery of the object of the obligation. So Article 1316 specifically states that deposit is a real contract because it is perfected by the delivery of the object of the obligation. So the first characteristic of the contract of deposit is it is real. Number two, it is unilateral if it is gratuitous. Unilateral because only the depositary has an obligation to keep the thing and return it later on if it is gratuitous. However, if it is for a compensation, it is bilateral because it gives rise to obligations on the part of both the depositary and the depositor. The depositor to make the payment and the depositary to keep the thing safely and return it afterwards. So that is Article 1962. Article 1963, an agreement to constitute a deposit is binding, but the deposit itself is not perfected until the delivery of the thing. From 1962, we learned that a deposit is a real contract, meaning it is perfected by the delivery of the subject matter of the contract. Therefore, before the delivery, any agreement to constitute a deposit or to receive a deposit is binding, but the deposit itself is not perfected until the subject matter is actually delivered and is actually received by the depositary. Article 1964, a deposit may be constituted judicially or extrajudicially. A judicial deposit is one which takes place when an attachment or seizure of property in litigation is ordered. So there has to be a court order for this purpose. That's why it's called judicial. And extrajudicial deposit may be voluntary or necessary. Voluntary, one wherein the delivery is made by the will of the depositor or by two or more persons, each of whom believes himself entitled to the thing deposited. So it is by the will of the depositor or the depositors. There may be more than one depositor. And necessary deposit is one made in compliance with a legal obligation or on the occasion of any calamity or by travelers in hotels and inns or by travelers with common carriers. So this is basically the distinction between a judicial and extrajudicial deposit. Article 1965, a deposit is a gratuitous contract except where there is an agreement to the contrary or unless the depositary is engaged in the business of storing goods. So, general rule, deposit is gratuitous. That's why sabi natin kanina, unilateral, kung gratuitous. But, it may be for compensation. There are three situations where deposit may be for compensation. Ang nakalagay ditong exception, dalawa lang. Pero, Actually, tatlo ang exceptions. Number one exception is where there is a contrary stipulation. So, general rule, gratuitous, but the parties, the depositor and the depositary, can stipulate that payment should be made by the depositor for the safekeeping of the thing by the depositary. So, first exception, where there is contrary stipulation, that is a valid stipulation. Number two exception, where a deposit is for a compensation, is where the depositary is engaged in business of storing goods. Negosyo talaga nila yon na magtago ng mga bagay-bagay para sa ibang tao for safekeeping. So, example nito yung mga bonded warehouse sa pier. Talagang negosyo nila to, nangongolekta talaga sila ng bayad for the task of safekeeping of the property of other people. So, number three exception is where property saved from destruction without knowledge of the owner. Ito yung tinatawag nating involuntary deposit, where property saved from destruction during a calamity by another person without knowledge of the owner. In which case, the latter, the person who takes care of the property of the owner, is entitled to compensation, just compensation. So, ano ang scenario dito? Halimbawa, si A mayroong kotse, pinarada niya sa isang parking lot, and then bumaha, nagkaroon ng flash flood, nalagay sa peligro yung kotse niya. Then another person takes that property, saves it from destruction, from the calamity, keeps it safe in the meantime. So, pagdating ng panahon na babawiin na siya ng may-ari, dapat magbayad ng may-ari ng compensation para sa effort ni depositary. So, tawag natin dito involuntary deposit kasi hindi naman niya kusang loob na pinatago kay depositary. Ang nangyari, hindi niya alam, nalagay sa peligro ang kanyang ari-arian, yung example natin, kotse. And then it was saved from destruction by another person who is now the depositary and keeps it safe in the meantime. Therefore, when the time comes that the owner comes to recover the property, he is obliged to pay the depositary for the efforts of safely keeping it without his knowledge. Article 1966, only movable things may be the object of a deposit. We learned from earlier provisions that there are two types of deposit. We have the judicial and extrajudicial. And extrajudicial is further subdivided into voluntary and necessary. Itong movable things, these are the proper subject matter of extrajudicial deposit. Kasi yung judicial deposit, it is one which takes place when an attachment or seizure of property in litigation is ordered. So may court order ito. At a court order for attachment or seizure of property can involve real property or immovable property. So, may I repeat that for judicial deposit, it is movable and immovable. And for extrajudicial, it is movable only. Article 1967, an extrajudicial deposit is either voluntary or necessary. So we will discuss each one of them after this. So ito ay classification lang. We have taken this up before. Sabi natin, judicial or extrajudicial, and extrajudicial is further subdivided into voluntary or necessary. And we will discuss each one of them shortly. Article 1968. This is the definition of voluntary deposit. It says, a voluntary deposit is that wherein the delivery is made by the will of the depositor, A deposit may also be made by two or more persons, each of whom believes himself entitled to the thing deposited, with a third person, who shall deliver it in a proper case to the one to whom it belongs. So, voluntary deposit, it is a deposit wherein the delivery is made by the will. Kumbaga, wala namang pumipilit sa kanila, wala namang necessity na mag-deposit sila, pero voluntarily, diniposit nila yung, halimbawa, example natin, kotse. Si A may kotse, pero papunta siyang abroad, magsi 6 months siya doon, so gusto niyang mapangalagaan mabuti ang kotse niya, so dinala niya sa warehouse. Diniposit niya sa warehouse. It is a situation where there are only two parties involved, the depositor and the depository. Dito sa pangalawang sentence, a deposit may also be made by two or more persons, each of whom believes himself entitled to the thing deposited, with a third person. So dito yung third person dito, yun ang depository. Halimbawa, si A at saka si B, magkapatid sila. And then may kotseng ipinamana yung kanilang magulang. Ang akala ni A, sa kanya yun. Ang akala ni B, sa kanya yun. Kumbaga, pinag-aagawan nila yung kotse. So, pwede naman na silang dalawa ang mag-deposit sa warehouse kay depository. Pwede nilang i-deposit yun habang nililitis or nililitigate nila sa korte kung sino ba talaga ang may-ari ng kotseng yun. So, meron silang interpleader case ongoing in the court. So, in the meantime, habang ongoing yung kaso, yung kotse naka-deposit kay depository, siya yung third person dito. At si depository, maghintay lang siya hanggang matapos yung kaso, at kung sino man ang pronounce ng court na may-ari, doon niya ibibigay afterwards. So, ito yun. Voluntary deposit yun. Kasi kusang loob na ipinatago ng isang tao yung kanyang ari-arian kay depository for safekeeping. Sa first sentence, dalawa lang ang parties, the depositor and the depository. Sa pangalawa, dalawang depositors at isang depository. Yung dalawang depositors, kumbaga, nag-contest sila, nag-aaway sila as to who is the lawful owner kasi pareho silang naniniwala na sila ang may-ari. So, diniposito muna nila sa A and B, diniposito nila kay C yung kotse habang mayroon silang ongoing interpleader case para naman ma-decide ng court kung sino ang may-ari sa kanila. Afterwards, kung may decision na final and executory, then yun dapat ang sundin ng depository kung kanino niya i-release o kanino niya isusoli yung kotse, kung sino sa kanila ang may-ari according to the decision of the court. Article 1969, a contract of deposit may be entered into orally or in writing. This is self-explanatory. Pwede siyang salita lang or pwede naman na nakasulat. Pareho silang valid. There is no requirement that it be in writing only. It can be entered into orally or in writing. Article 1970, if a person having capacity to contract accepts a deposit made by one who is incapacitated, the former shall be subject to all the obligations of a depositary and may be compelled to return the thing by the guardian or administrator of the person who made the deposit or by the latter himself if he should acquire capacity. So, ano yung scenario dito sa 1970? Ang scenario dito, yung depositor ay incapacitated. Pero yung depository ay capacitated. Anong ibig sabihin ng incapacitated? Sino-sino mga kinoconsider natin incapacitated? Number one, a minor, a person below 18 years old, a minor, incapable of giving consent, he cannot enter into a contract. An insane person, demented, a deaf mute who cannot write, somebody who is under hypnotic spell, somebody who is in a state of intoxication. These are incapacitated under the law. So, let's stick to the minor. Yung minor, like 16 years old, diniposito niya pinatago niya for safekeeping yung kotse ng tatay niya. So, he is the depositor. The depository is capacitated. So, the law says na yung depositor will have the usual obligations of a depository. Walang pagkakaiba kay capacitated or incapacitated yung depositor. The thing is, hindi niya dapat ito i-release. Hindi niya dapat ibalik sa minor, sa depositor, kasi nga yung minor incapacitated. Sino dapat, kanino niya dapat ito isoli? Isoli niya ito sa guardian, sa magulang, sa representative ng depositor. Pag binawi nila, i-release niya yan. Huwag kay depositor mismo kasi si depositor ay incapacitated. Pero halimbawa, nung i-deposit niya yung kotse ay 17 and a half years old na siya, konting ilang buwan na lang, 18 na siya. And he deposits the car for 6 months. By the time na tapos na yung period of deposit ay 18 years old na, then pwede na. Pwede niya nang i-release doon sa minor kasi hindi na siya minor noong binabawi niya na yung sasakyan. Pwede na. Pero kung minor pa rin siya at binawi ng magulang, ng guardian, ng representative, i-release niya sa magulang, sa guardian, sa representative. Pero huwag sa minor. That is 1970. Article 1971. If the deposit has been made by a capacitated person with another who is not, the depositor shall only have an action to recover the thing deposited while it is still in the possession of the depositary, or to compel the latter to pay him the amount by which he may have enriched or benefited himself with the thing or its price. However, if a third person who acquired the thing acted in bad faith, the depositor may bring an action against him for its recovery. So, itong Article 1971, parang kabaligtaran ito ng 1970. Kasi sa 1970, yung depositor ay incapacitated at yung depositary ay capacitated. Sabi natin sa 1970, if such is the case, the depositary who is capacitated will have the usual obligations of the depositary regardless of whether the depositor is capacitated or not. However, hindi niya dapat ibalik yun sa depositor who is a minor, who is incapacitated. Dapat ibalik na yun sa guardian, sa parents, or the representative. However, kung pagdating ng panahon na babawiin niya na, ay of legal age na siya, pwede naman ibalik niya sa minor kasi hindi na siya incapacitated by the time that he is trying to recover the thing. Pero sa 1971, kaya natin sinabing baliktad kasi dito, ang depositor ay capacitated, ang depositary ay incapacitated. So sabihin na natin na yung depositary ay minor, like he is only 17 years old. Hindi napansin the depositor na minor pa, and he made the deposit with the incapacitated depositary. So, ano yung effect nun? Sabi sa 1971, the depositary will not have the usual obligations of a depositary. The depositor shall only have an action to recover the thing deposited while it's still in the possession of the depositary. Halimbawa, binabawi niya na, nire-recover niya na yung example natin kanina, kotse, binabawi niya na, nagkataong na andun pa naman sa possession ni depositary, then it's okay. Pwede niyang babawi. Kaya lang, paano kung pagbalik niya at babawiin niya na, ay wala na. Like, ibinenta na, pinamigay na, nasira na. Anong remedy available sa depositor? So, sabi dito, if that is the case, then he can compel the depositary to pay him the amount by which he may have enriched himself or benefited himself with the thing. So, ano ibig sabihin? Halimbawa, binenta niya, then, dapat ibalik sa kanya yung napagbentahan. Paano yung kung hindi niya binenta, pinamigay niya lang? Then, pabayaran niya yung price ng subject matter of the deposit. In our example, pabayaran niya yung price ng kotse. However, according to the third sentence, if a third person who acquired the thing acted in bad faith, the depositor may bring an action against him for its recovery. Ano yung acted in bad faith? Halimbawa, yung third person, alam niyang for deposit lang. Hindi naman yung pag-aari ni depositary. So-called depositary kasi nga minor siya. Paano kung despite the knowledge that it doesn't belong to the depositary, binili niya? So, bad faith siya. O hiningi niya, bad faith siya. Kasi alam niya na hindi yung pag-aari ni depositary, on deposit lang siya. Then in that case, the depositor can proceed against this person who purchased or who acquired the thing in bad faith, and he can bring an action against him for its recovery. Diretso nang dun siya mag-recover dun sa third person, no longer kay depositary.